We think you should know that Imperfect Heroes podcast is a production of Little Hearts Academy USA.
You're listening to Imperfect Heroes, Insights into Parenting, the perfect podcast for imperfect parents looking to find joy in their experience of raising children in an imperfect world. And I'm your host, DJ Stutz. Hey everyone, thank you for choosing to spend the next few minutes here with us at Imperfect Heroes. I'm so excited to have you here and to have my guest here. Christina and I have been able to know each other in different realms and different parts of podcasting and entrepreneurship and coaching. She's an amazing coach. But before we get started, I just wanted to remind you that you have a great opportunity for a free workshop. And if you join the Parent Perspectives on my website, it's a free workshop every month, the fourth Thursday of every month. It's at 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And we talk about all kinds of things parenting. And so we usually will take the theme for the month for the podcast and we do a deep dive into that. But you have a chance to ask questions and to share stories and connect with other parents. It's an amazing thing. And so if you just go to the website, www.littleheartsacademyusa.com, you're going to see Parent Perspectives. You just click on that, no cost to you. And it's a chance to get actually some free coaching, some group session work, and it's just a fun thing. So go ahead, go there, and the link is in the show notes as always. So let's go ahead and get started though. This month we are talking about perseverance and how to teach our children to persevere, but also parenting is an exercise in perseverance for us. They wear us down, don't they? And so how do we stay strong? And then how do we teach our children to keep going, to keep trying and not give up when there's a bump in the road? And so Christine Lee, you are a procrastination coach. You're a doctor. You have your own coaching business in helping people through procrastination and how to build their lives and their businesses. And you are amazing. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about your background and what you bring to the table, and then let's jump right in on that procrastination thing.
Okay, terrific. Thank you, DJ, and thank you so much for that kind introduction. I want to clarify, I'm a doctor of psychology, not a medical doctor, just in case anybody's wondering, and just wanted to be clear and represent appropriately. I am so grateful to be with DJ and her audience, and thank you all for listening. And I do call myself procrastination coach online. DJ and I have been podcasters in tandem for many years and have collaborated in the past on a couple of episodes. And I'm so grateful to be back. And really, the reason I got into the area of procrastination is because I noted that there was a reluctance for people to really even see the nature of their procrastination and how debilitating it could really be across spheres of life. So it can be debilitating in your finances, in your relationships, in your health, in your work, in how you keep your home. And I know that as soon as I started working on my own patterns with this particular issue, and I was very much a severe procrastinator and a chronic one, that once I started putting two and two together and putting the steps in place, I felt my life getting lighter. And I really just got hooked into the idea that this could be the way the rest of my career goes, where I get to teach people how to create healthier, lighter, more joyful and productive lives. And that's what I've been doing so far.
And doing a great job at it, I will add.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I think, though, part of, to me, working through your procrastination is so connected to persevering. They're so connected. So I am married to this sweet guy, and we joke around about his OCDs. And we'll get home from a trip. In fact, just last night we got home. We were visiting my other son, came to my daughter's house, and we're beat. We're tired. It's getting late. And I'm worried about getting the grandkids baths because we've been watching them for my daughter. And I'm thinking, we'll just get that stuff out of the car tomorrow. And nope, he couldn't. No. That wasn't going to happen. It was going to happen now. Or else he wasn't going to be able to sleep. It would be bugging him. I wish I had that.
That trait, right? Yeah.
Yes. That would be probably a little better for me down the road. But so some people it comes to them quite naturally it's got to get done or it's going to be on my mind and I won't be able to relax. And then other people are like, oh, I'll get that later. And then later comes, oh yeah, we'll get that. And we push it off. And it can be anything from, like you said, picking up your home, keeping your home decluttered and things put away. Or it could be doing something that you kind of just really don't want to do, whether it's talking to somebody, talking to a teacher, or managing something with your kids or whatever. But as we set that example, our children are going to follow the example, I think, that we set. What do you think on that?
I think it's a great topic to start with, first of all. And what just came to mind was a little story and memory that I will share because I was visiting. This is a story from 20 plus years ago, I would say. I was visiting a friend's home and her two daughters were playing, and they were not babies. They were not little, but they were playing with each other, and they were quietly and quickly putting together what they had done and putting the items away. And I quickly said, oh, no, you don't have to do that. And I don't even know why I thought that, right? I was just thinking this was probably just a habit of mine. Oh, everybody take it easy. But the mother told me in a very nice way, no, they do that. They know how to do that. And this is their pattern. But of course, the mother had taught them into that pattern.
Right.
And
right.
So they, to this day, are knowledgeable about how to take care of themselves, knowledgeable about how to keep a home. So when we say things are natural has a very broad definition there because they were taught by their mother, who's very orderly and aware of time and resources and things like that. So I would say these are skills that anyone can learn. I think that's the important thing to insert from my perspective, that I was raised actually in a tidy home, but I did not develop those skills of being tidy. And I have over the years either learned them, taught myself them, learned them by watching other people, and just developed them by necessity over time because I wanted to be a little more orderly. I didn't want all of my time dribbling away because that felt very wasteful and stressful. So there's a natural piece, but I don't want people to think, oh, I wasn't born organized or born sensitive to how time runs. So that's just always going to be the case. I really want everyone to believe that they have that much power over how things go in their own life, because that's the beginning of great change.
And such a great point, and thank you for bringing that up. And, as you were talking about that, I was thinking, Russell, my sweetheart, is the baby of 9. And so his mom had to be very organized to keep things scheduled and to feed everybody and to keep up on all of the chores. And then me being the oldest of 7, again, my mom dealt with some mental health issues. And it's funny how when she was doing well, our house was well kept. When she was struggling with her mental health issues, the house would be a mess. So for me growing up, I always associated how clean my house was with where my mental health state was. And I don't know if that's right or wrong. It's probably wrong in some ways, but with my experiences growing up, that's kind of how I associated that organization piece.
I think many people do. And I don't want to misquote research, but I've seen some research that some of the physicists and more intelligent people also have very cluttered spaces, workspaces, home spaces, that they know that keeping everything tidy is not necessarily the most important way to use your time. So you could use
Right.
that argument in any way, right? I think
Right.
where I've come to settle on this issue is that when you feel well with the way things are, that's alignment. That's where your brain is clear. Many people can tolerate, but even the word tolerate indicates something, right? But many people can tolerate a bit of things being out of order. Some people literally can't. So you just have to know yourself. But I think that is a kinder way of evaluating where you want to get yourself to instead of thinking, oh my God, everybody's going to come to my home and judge, because that's a fear-based way of thinking about your own
Yes.
home, right? What's important is
Yes.
that you feel comfortable in your home. And
Exactly.
yeah, so I've been all over the place. I've been the, oh my God, I can't believe I keep my house this way, to, oh, it's pretty reasonable and I'm pretty comfortable. And I've been everywhere in between. So I really feel the empathy for people who struggle around keeping a tidy home,
Right.
because it's not the simplest thing for people, even though other people find it to be a no-brainer. So if you're one of the people out there who are struggling with this, just take the
Yeah.
edge off it. And I would say start with a 10-minute timer and put some high vibe music on and go to town for 10 minutes and see
Yeah.
if you like that and if that makes a dent. And typically you'll be able to see a real difference in just 10 minutes. And that's what I try to
Yeah.
coach people
Yeah.
into, to not think you have to revamp the whole living room, because that might hurt your back and take up all day and still not end up making you feel really happy with your home. But a 10-minute
Yeah.
minute segment you can absolutely do.
Well, and two, be realistic and give yourself the grace that it's so much easier for me to keep my home clean now when it's just Russ and I,
Yeah.
and the dogs.
Yeah. Yes.
But when I had the
Yes.
kids and they were growing up, and it felt like I would just get one piece clean and move on to the next room. And when I came back, that room I just cleaned was dirty again. So
Yeah.
understanding, I think, the reality. I saw a sign and I had to laugh. It was like, no, this is not a construction zone. Children live here. And
Yeah.
I thought,
Yeah.
but I think too, being able to verbalize sometimes that when you're using maybe a strategy that you just said, and the kids are hearing you, okay, I'm really tired, but I'm going to put the timer on for 10 minutes and we're going to work and get things done for 10 minutes. And then we'll go off and do something else. But if you start verbalizing those strategies out loud and the kids hear you verbalizing what you're doing, then they're going to internalize that more and more.
Yeah. And you don't have to necessarily teach them directly. If,
Right.
as you were saying, you can demonstrate. And I think because I've taught people things like how to declutter, even though it's not my strongest suit, I have heard story after story after story, as I'm sure you have too, DJ, of people changing their energy and their behavior because they see you changing it for yourself. So it's not this pressure, guilt, shame, embarrassment, tango, tug of war thing. It is really like everybody gets to excel here and we're all
Right.
safe. So why are we worried about anything? Just chuck the worry first and then set the timer and you should be good.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm a big timer fan. And from teaching kindergarten, and then I was directing preschools, and then raising my own kids and now grandkids, just timers are great. And even like watching two of my grandkids this week while my daughter and her husband are out of town, and saying, okay, it's going to be bedtime. We're going to have to start getting ready. You've got a half an hour, set the timer, and they can see it. And I think that visual with kids is really helpful. And they've got
Yeah.
even timers with the red thing,
Yes.
so that they can visually see that red part getting smaller and smaller. And that's a great visual for
Yes.
our kiddos. I think another thing too, with as we're teaching our kids to be more resilient and keep trying, is being realistic about what we're asking them to do as well. And so their room's totaled and they're 3. You don't just say, go clean your room,
Yeah.
right? But breaking it up into bite-sized pieces. We're going to pick up the yellow toys. And then, now the blue toys. And now we're teaching them to sort and to classify. And we're bringing some science in. And we're doing those things too.
Yeah, there's a real power in what you just said, the power of having a strategy. It doesn't have to be research-based. It doesn't have to be brilliant. It can just get a person over the starting line. And so often, not just with clutter, it's with life, right? Paying your taxes or going grocery shopping sometimes or getting ready for bed. You just have to get yourself over the starting line. And so I think if I could provide a tip here, always think what's the fastest way to get to the starting line, right? It might be, again, that music. It might be, oh, let me just indicate to my partner what I want done by the end of the afternoon. It could be something really small and can put everybody on the same page, which can be really helpful, and put your own energy into that particular one focus. That's another tip. Really just getting rid of all the distractions and all the other things that you would rather do. Just put it in one place and enjoy it. Enjoy it while you're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, for sure. And, you were bringing up the music too. I know when my kids were little, I had the album of the soundtrack of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
I love it.
I would put that on, and that was my cleaning music. Dun, 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 and if I go,
I'm going to use that. I'm going to borrow that for sure. Because that's a great song. Yeah.
It was great. And then if you did the soundtrack to the whole movie, I had the LP, but I had that and I'd put it on and the kids knew, even very, very young. I mean, this was even before, I think I was pregnant with Rocky when I started using that. But the kids knew when that music was on, that was our cleanup time. And so even as they were 4 and 2, they could start picking up little things here and there, and they would start doing it with me. And that's a strategy I used in my kindergarten class as well as when I was directing the preschools for the school district. And we would put on a cleanup song, and that's a very common strategy to use. And there's some great ones that are out there. One of my favorites was, "Oh my goodness, look at this mess. I'm the one who made it, I do confess," and so it's almost 4 minutes long, and that's about, for that age group, that's about how long they are going to have the mental acuity to stay focused.
Yes. And I think it's, again, not just about the clutter. It's teaching ourselves that there's a rise and a fall. There's a cycle of things to bring things to completion. And I think no matter what age you are, you enjoy the completion feeling. And if you leave your stuff all over the place, you're never going to have that for yourself. Yeah. So you're kind of depriving yourself accidentally of this extra piece of satisfaction and this feeling of, oh, I'm an achiever, and all the other things that you might associate with finishing a loop. And I just want to put that in there too.
I love that. I really do love that. And so now let's move on maybe to, a lot of times they want to start something. Kids will want to start something, and either they decide it gets too hard, or I'm not good at this, or whatever, and they'll want to quit. So where's the balance then between, let's push it through, like let's agree we'll finish the season, or we're going to finish this Lego project, or whatever it is. Let's keep pushing with it. Where's the point of us either being too pushy, because then they don't learn anything then either, or it being encouraging?
I think that's such a subtle question. I think it really depends on the moment. But again, a habit can be created with repetition. Repetition's so important. And maybe just the goal is completion. So maybe you're not fully doing the whole room, but you're saying, you know what, I see that you're looking a little tired there. Let's just finish this part, but really celebrate the completion and then return when the kid's energy is back up because it's not quite done.
Yeah.
So that there, like you said, there isn't pressure, there isn't a push or a forcing. And I think so many people resort to, I'm in the middle of dog training with my my younger puppy,
Me
so I'm really
too.
thinking about this, right? And that
Yes.
the instinct is to pull on the dog, but oftentimes it doesn't teach them anything but to get really stressed out. And so then both the owner and the dog are stressed out. I think the same with children and parents or children and adults, that you don't want any forcing to be happening. So it's okay to let it be a pause moment, right? Okay, let's go get a snack or let's go outside for a minute and then return. But that the goal really is of completion of the project, because it's not gonna, it's right. Most things are not going to be damaging or harmful to the kid, and the kid is expressing their natural pushback, right? So to also, this is something I learned from being a psychologist, is really having it not be push pull between people, but it's looking inside the kid. What part of the kid wants this done for themselves, right? They don't want to lose the pieces of the Lego set or of the doll house or of whatever they're else, like, right? The Ninja Turtles, that's all from a long time ago. Whatever kids are playing with these days, they don't want the missing piece. That would not be so fun. Or they know the value of what they care about. So to kind of lean on that a little bit, again, without guilt tripping, but saying like, yeah, like, wouldn't it be great if the next time you open this, all the pieces were ready and set and ready for you to go.
Right. So just this morning, so their school starts really late here. It's like 9:20 is when their elementary school starts. And so we're getting close to time for the kids to leave. And Ingrid, my granddaughter, was watching Bluey. She'd finished her breakfast and all of this, right? And so I said, okay, now it's time. We're going to go up, brush our teeth, and do our hair. And so we put Bluey on pause. And she said, but I want to watch it. I'm like, we can hurry up and do your hair, and you'll have 5 minutes to watch Bluey. Or you can take your time, and then we won't have time to watch Bluey. The choice is yours. I really don't care. And so then I went to help her brother, and I came back, and she's rolling around on the floor and, doing her thing. I'm like, oh, okay, you're choosing not to watch Bluey. That's fine with me. No, I want to watch Bluey. I'm like, then you better get up and do your hair. And so now instead of 5 minutes, you're going to have 2 minutes. I'll take 2 minutes. All right. Up she went. And so sometimes it's that reminder. But I think, too, making a choice somewhere in there for them to make, and you have to be okay with whichever one they pick.
Yep. You're not attached, right? Right.
No, I don't care.
Yeah. Literally, you don't care, right? And it's just to have them have some investment, some healthy investment in their own choices. Yeah, absolutely. And I hear Bluey's very good.
So far, I haven't seen anything that and I'm really protective of what my kids see, but so far it's been good. So I think there's that piece too. And then I think another thing that you brought up that I think is so important is being able to take a break and then come back to it. Yeah. And it doesn't have to even be a chore. It could be a Lego project, or it could be out working on playing baseball and playing catch or whatever, and then just saying, oh, you know what? Let's take a break. We're going to go do this, but we'll come back. Or having a place where you can save that Lego project. They don't have to put everything exactly away, but there's a place or a tray or something where it's there, it's safe, and they can come back to it. Because some of those projects do take some time. Or puzzles, like, puzzles for the kids or different things. It's okay to take that break and then come back to it. That's just as good too.
Yeah. And I love that the theme that we're agreeing on is really the no pressure position, because cleaning up toys and getting places on time and catching your favorite show, it can feel really pressured. And that's learned. I really think we come into this universe. I know you know this because you love working with children.
Yeah.
being free. And then we layer on all of this stress and pressure. And then we wonder why we can't finish things. It's because our bodies and brains are just calling it quits. We don't want to deal with anything anymore.
Yeah.
And we certainly don't want our children looking at us as models of stress and inactivity
Right.
and despair or disappointment. We want to be role models for possibility and energy and growth and
Hmm.
calm. And those are loving gifts that we can give to our children.
I agree so much. And I think too, I think it's good for us to have a talent or a hobby or something that we're really interested in and interested in doing. And they see us coming and going back to it and spending time and even best case scenario, including them in the process. And so showing them, one of the things that I do is I do a lot of crochet and knitting. And so I have a goal of making these huge blankets for every one of my grandkids. I have 12 of them. And so I'm a little over halfway through. But it was so funny the other day. I was at my son's house in California. He has 2 kids. And then I had Rocky's 2 kids. And Sylvan, which is Rocky's boy, was saying how Nana, I'm Nana, but how Nana is the best at string. I'm like, string? What string? And he goes, and then Ingrid comes in. She goes, yeah, you do yarning. It is so
You're so funny. Oh my goch. That's so cute. That's great.
Isn't
I
it
love
fun?
it. Perfect
But that's their
language.
thing
I
is
love it.
they see that, isn't that fun language? And it's fun to hear how they pick that up. But they see that I keep going back to it. For me, and this is just my life, I can't just sit and watch TV anymore. So I'm either editing a podcast while the TV's on and my husband's sitting next to me, or I'm yarning. And I'm always kind of doing stuff. But the kids have noticed that, and that those are things that are important to me, and I keep working on it. And so again, it's that modeling of me going back to it. And I don't have to say anything about it. And they'll come and ask questions or whatever, but they'll pick up on it if they see it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. They're watching everything and they're
They
absorbing
are.
everything and they're putting
They
names to
are.
everything. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the language of kids. It's just so fun the way
Yeah.
I'm good with string. You're just really good with string. What? So, oh, kids are great. Kids are great. So I guess the bottom line is what we've been talking about, setting the right example, using the right skill set as far as not pushing, demanding, but encouraging, giving choices. But then it's like, it wasn't a choice of be on time for school or not. It was a choice of how much time do you want to watch Bluey before we go, right?
Right. Right. We can use our intelligence to frame the options, right? We
Yes.
can
Yes.
still guide them in a particular direction. It's okay, right?
Right. Right.
And just as long as we're not stomping on the child's autonomy, we really have great motivations, great intentions,
Mm-hmm.
and loving intentions.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you're in alignment with that, it
Mm-hmm.
can only go well. That's my opinion, right? And when we have love
I
for each
agree.
other, we want everybody to succeed, right? We don't have to feel frustrated because we're in the role of modeling and teaching and guiding, right? It can be this
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, bi-directional, mutual joy stringing,
Mm-hmm.
finding out about each other, learning about the world together, learning about kids, and learning about
Yes.
energy together and how to make it even more fun. And it is so
Absolutely.
fun.
Absolutely. And just finding joy in parenting, right? And looking at the situation with eager, curious, inspired eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's really cool. Well, Christine, thank you so much. And so you have something coming up. And what can our people do to keep in touch with you, to learn more about you?
Thank you so much. And before I get into that, I want to say thank you for being the hero that you are. It's been a while since we've actually connected, and I'm just reminded of
Yeah.
the beautiful work that you do and your beautiful energy. So thank you
Oh,
for
thank
what you
you.
do. Yeah, and the passion that you put out into the world and to all the children. So I do have a live event coming up. It's called Re-Energize Your Home. It is a
Ooh.
decluttering challenge over the course
Ooh.
of 5+ days. I've run it 4 times before. It's kind of like a party, if you can imagine, because like DJ and I like to do, we like to keep things fun and doable. And so I invite anyone and anybody who's listening and has some clutter to take care of, even if it's a little bit in the corner, I welcome you to join. You'll learn a lot about habits and regulating your energy and boosting your energy to do things that you don't quite want to do. And I've chosen the
Mm-hmm.
topic of clutter because it was such a bugaboo topic for many of the clients that I work with. So actually, my clients requested something like this. I kind of reluctantly built this, but it ended up being this really fun vehicle to teach people about their power and their energy and the fact that
Nice.
they can get through everything. So I invite everyone to join up. I'm going to offer a free download called Cut the Clutter that I created a while ago in conjunction with a professional organizer. So it's really high
Oh,
quality, this
wow.
free download. And you can get that and the invitation to the free program if you go to procrastinationcoach.com/DJ. Again, it's procrastinationcoach.com/DJ. And I want to thank DJ again for allowing me to mention that and to invite her people to work with me too.
Yeah, and I think too, when you've got that decluttering in your surroundings, for at least for me, and I know everyone's different, but when my surroundings are not cluttered, my mind settles down easier. I'm better able to focus. I'm not as short-tempered. And I think kids get used to not having to live in chaos, and that makes their lives simpler too. So
Yeah.
I really encourage anyone, if you're interested at all, yeah, go ahead and check this out. And again, we'll have the link in the show notes. So go there. And then if you're part of our newsletter, I'm going to put that link in our newsletter as well. So there's a couple of ways that you can get it from me or just go directly to Christina. Christina, thank you so much. You just do such awesome work. And before we
Thank you.
go, I always ask my guests the same question because we know there are no perfect parents, and that's why we call it Imperfect Heroes. But there are parents who are more successful than others, it seems. How would you describe a successful parent?
It's a lovely and difficult question, I would say, in a way, because there's so many ways to be a parent. We're
Yeah.
mentioning our dogs even and of course our amazing children and the children in our world. And I would say for me, it's a little bit about not losing sight of who you are as a
Mm-hmm.
person while you're connecting with the child. So to make sure
Mm-hmm.
that there's in some way healthy boundaries and separation as much as there is connection so that you can retain that part of you that can be reflective, that can
Mm-hmm.
step back, can observe yourself operating with the child. And I think that's a little bit protective of you and the child, right? It protects everyone from everything getting really heated or out of control or
Yeah.
chaotic or
Yeah.
messy. And just have everybody be reasonable is really a nice way to go about the day, I think, no matter what age you are, right? Like with the stress that's
Yeah.
around in the world, that it's
Yeah.
nice to just say, you know what, I am okay. I'm okay. We're going to be okay. And if we can do that, I think we're winning as parents.
Oh, I love that. It reminded me of, we just had Mother's Day, and there was this Mother's Day commercial that said, before she was your mother. And it shows all of these hippie moms and moms who are doing, young things and
Yeah.
out being cool and in college and high
Yep.
school. And
Yep.
and I think, yeah, hold on to that. And I am a kind person, darn it. As you're screaming at your kids, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. A
be
little less
true
of
to
the
who you really
screaming.
are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The,
Just like
the screaming isn't who I am.
keep your grounded parts and they're
Yeah.
there. You haven't
Yeah.
lost them and you're doing an amazing job. So keep going.
I love it.
Keep going.
Christine, you are amazing, and I
Thank you.
love what you do. And so, everybody, let's keep going let's not procrastinate. Let's persevere. And above all, until next week, let's find joy in parenting. See you guys.
Bye.